Hello and a big warm welcome to you, and welcome to another one of my Aware Parenting series. And today I want to talk about tears and tantrums. And I'm going to be referencing another one of Aletha Salter's books. Aletha Salter is the woman who devised Aware Parenting, and this book is Tears and Tantrums. And that's my daughter about 10 or more years ago with her dad. So tears and tantrums is a hugely, maybe you want to call it controversial subject in parenting. And what Aletha Salter's done in her book and in her work is really given a whole different context to tears and tantrums. So often from more older paradigms of parenting, we've come to this conclusion that tears and tantrums are kind of misbehavior, or there's something that we should try and calm and stop a child when they are crying or having a tantrum. And I really want to preface this first that, of course, if a child has an unmet need or a baby's alone while they're crying, we really need to address their unmet needs. So sometimes babies and children do cry because they have unmet needs, and it's really important we listen to those needs. But the piece that Aware Parenting brings is that babies and children and adults also cry and have tantrums. The babies don't really have tantrums, to release uncomfortable feelings from their bodies, to heal from stress, from everyday upsetting events, and also from trauma. So it's really seeing that we are all born with this amazing inbuilt mechanism to actually release feelings that aren't helpful for us. So fear and overwhelm and sadness and loss and confusion and all the kinds of feelings that we can have and that babies can have right from birth, even if we're doing our utmost to meet all their needs, that they will experience these things. And what we've traditionally done, again from older paradigms of parenting, is we've either disconnected from them and kind of left them alone in those feelings. So they kind of needed to just deal with them on their own. And what will happen then often is that they will stop crying. And often that might be, though, that we might see that they kind of look a bit spaced out afterwards, or they're clutching onto something and they're not really seeming connected, because what's needed to happen is they've needed to disconnect from themselves, from those feelings. And then there have been more modern ways that have come in, which have been about trying to listen to children, but sometimes and quite often that's been to actually stop children's feelings, to jiggle and rock babies, or to tell a child to calm down, or to distract them with something sweet, or nowadays with an iPad, and to actually stop the feelings. But what happens is, because this isn't this inbuilt mechanism we have to release feelings, just like we need to wee and poo to get rid of things our body doesn't need, that this kind of crying mechanism actually gets rid of things that our body, our emotional body, doesn't need. And if we stop that process happening, what then happens is feelings start accumulating in our bodies, and we start to notice certain things. And what Aletha talks about is we notice two types of things. One is we notice certain behaviours, like they might start making less eye contact. They might start waking up more frequently at night. They might start being more agitated. They might start hitting and biting. They might just avoid eye contact. They might seem really tense in their bodies. They might move all the time. Or on the other hand, they might develop ways of holding in those feelings. And often they develop those ways, they learn them from us. And in Aware Parenting, that's called control patterns. So these are just habitual ways that we all have to protect ourselves from uncomfortable feelings. So what happens, for example, is if every time a baby's upset, we rock them and jiggle them, then they may learn to do that themselves when they're upset. So they may become a toddler who finds it really hard to sit still. So when they're upset, they will move. And that may then develop into adulthood as need to kind of be busy all the time. So these ways we learn to be with our feelings when we're babies will often, even though they'll change form, they'll often stay fairly consistent as we move through our lives, unless we go back and revisit those feelings, unless we express them. So the beautiful thing is, if we actually listen to the tears and tantrums, so the key is connection. This isn't about leaving babies and children on their own. It's about deeply, deeply connecting with them when they're crying, when they're having a tantrum, when we're sure that their needs are met, so we're close and they're not hungry and they're not cold, and all the things that we would naturally want to check out, and having a big cry or a big tantrum, just really being there, being present with them and loving them, and if they're a baby, holding them, if they're a child, just seeing how much closeness they want. It may be that they want to be held, it may be that we sit with them, or if they're already having a tantrum, just being close by and making sure they don't get hurt and no one else gets hurt. But just being present. I'm here with you, sweetheart. I see how upset you are. I'm right here and I'm listening. And really what we'll find, and I wonder if you've found this, if you've ever done this, is when babies and children get to release those feelings, what happens is they, afterwards, when they've gone through that chunk of feelings, they're alert, and they'll make eye contact, and their whole bodies feel different. Their muscles feel more relaxed. They feel calmer. They might, if they're verbal already, they might come up and give us a big hug and say, hug and say, I love you, mummy, and can I do anything to help? So what really happens, I call tears and tantrums therapy for kids, because basically what happens is they've just offloaded that whole chunk of feelings, which might be something that happened to them at preschool, or another child said something to them, or they got really frustrated because they're at this kind of new developmental edge and they're just about to be able to do something. Whatever feelings they've got on, and children have lots of big feelings, we don't realise that, is they get to release those, they let them all out, and they're calm again and relaxed, they're able to concentrate, they're able to cooperate, and they actually feel happier, they're able to smile more. And so what happens over time is, rather than this kind of accumulation, is each time there's a big cry or tantrum, more of those uncomfortable feelings get offloaded. So they actually get more and more calm, they get more relaxed, they get more cooperative. They're able to sleep more, because often the root cause of a lot of sleep issues is just feelings that are bubbling up, trying to be expressed. Because just like us, when we're stressed or we're thinking about something or worrying about something, it's hard to go to sleep, isn't it? And we wake up at night and we're thinking about it and feeling it. So babies and children are just like us. So really understanding, and in Tears and Tantrums, Aletha talks about the causes of stress and trauma for children and babies. She talks about how to help babies, and also how to help children 1 to 8 years of age. One really beautiful thing I'd love to share with you is about what she calls broken cookie moments. So broken cookie moments are like, her example is, child's just had the last cookie in the jar and they're all gone, or the last cookie's broken. And the child starts to go have a massive big cry, a big tantrum about that last cookie. Now again, if we look at that accumulation model, it isn't really about the last cookie. And what we can do is we can try and fix things. Well, I'll go and get you another packet, or what about this instead? But if we've checked out beforehand and they've already kind of been agitated beforehand, and maybe they've asked for all these other different things and we've given it to them and they're still agitated, then we can be pretty sure this isn't about an immediate need, because we've tried out those things. It really isn't about the cookie. It's really just giving them a wonderful context to have a big cry and a big rage. And I'm sure, again, you found yourself doing that. Maybe you've had a really tough day, and maybe your partner's come home and they've said one thing and you just had this really big reaction. Now, it really wasn't the one thing, was it? It was all the other things that have built up, and that one thing was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was really the thing that helped you express all the other things. And often it's when we have some connection, when someone else is finally there, we can have that release, because it's really the connection that makes the release healing. Babies or children crying on their own isn't healing. It's the connection plus the release that brings the healing, that helps them feel relieved and relaxed and able to cooperate and concentrate and sleep and do all those things that we find really enjoyable as parents. So if you want to find out more about this way of parenting, I recommend having a look at Aletha's website, which is www.awareparenting.com, and my website, which is www.marianrose.net. And please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to watch more of my videos on aware parenting, and I'm really passionate about supporting mothers to flourish and grow and evolve through mothering. So if you're interested in that too, please subscribe. And maybe over the next few days, have a little kind of think or observe of your child or your children. Just maybe watch for this whole piece around crying and tantrums. Maybe you want to watch other kids. Maybe you want to inquire into your own experience and just see if it makes a difference for you. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to talking to you next time.